All right, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Energon Line, a very cool figure here. Not to be confused, of course, with RID Line, which is the one that they, kind of recently did an updated version of using the scrap hook mold in Legacy. But yeah, no, Line is a really cool little figure here. He is part of the combat class from Energon, which is basically deluxes. And as we'll see throughout, he has kind of a unique gimmick with him, where the actual robot itself only kind of becomes part of the little van mode here, and then the rest of it becomes kind of like a battle platform kind of thing. You can make your own determination about what it's supposed to be when we show it off. But yeah, no, it's a pretty good little van mode here. I really like it. It does have a nice sculpted ladder on the side, which is it's painted with the other, the color of it. It would have been nice if maybe that was picked out in like a different color, but still, I think it's a pretty nice look. Nice details on the back there. And yeah, pretty good. And I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be some kind of like news van or something like that. Or like, I don't know, just like a radar truck or something, because the Energon weapon that he comes with is this interesting piece here, which mine is missing a part. There's the extended bit here on the back, which is a really real pain to get out now since I don't have the piece to grab it by anymore. But there's supposed to be another radar dish attached to this ball joint here. So in this mode, you're supposed to flip both of those up and just kind of peg it on top to kind of complete the sort of radar van mode, and which still looks fine. I don't tend to keep this weapon with him, honestly, but I think that it integrates fairly well in terms of becoming part of the vehicle mode, which is a little bit odd, honestly, for like the Energon weapons, because like the canon of it in the show is that they like generated these out of the Energon store, so it doesn't like necessarily actually have to have a place to go, but whatever. But yeah, in terms of comparisons in this mode, just for the standard one, here he is with Kingdom Sideswipe, so you can see what he looks like with an average size modern deluxe. And here he is with Studio Series Ratchet, because this guy, like the design of him really is kind of based on like as an homage to the original Ironhide and Ratchet, where it kind of has a similar-ish robot mode design to them, and then it also does the like separated platform thing that their G1 toys did. But you can see they're pretty comparable in size here. He's maybe a little bit wider, Ratchet's a little bit longer, but pretty comparable in size there. Granted, deluxe Voyager, but you've heard that discussion before. But yeah, to get onto transformation, we'll just take the weapon off to the side. You want to basically take these panels and fold them out to the side. These are part of that platform. And something that you can do too, which I think is kind of fun, is if you take these sections and you flip out these little guns, you can like mostly close it back up without actually pegging in to kind of create a neat sort of like guns coming out of the top of a van mode. I think that's kind of a neat option there. But yeah, you just want to fold these open, and then we'll leave these all in there for now. And basically you take the entire top half of the vehicle mode and it will just unlock here. It uses the same sort of latch mechanism that a lot of the other Energon Deluxe toys did in terms of like doing their like two-person combiner modes to have like the pants mode and the shirt mode or whatever it's supposed to be called. So you can use him for that. But yeah, just in terms of the little platform here in and of itself, you can take the back panel there and just fold it down like that. And then you want to take this section that folds out from underneath with these treads on it and just kind of fold it up there at the end, and then take the front wheels and they'll actually flip back on that armature to kind of sit as back wheels. And then you have this thing kind of going on. These do unpeg and you can kind of separate it out, but in terms of keeping it like rolling on the ground, you usually kind of want to leave them pegged together so that they can actually, still roll. But yeah, no, it's a weird thing. I always used to like to pretend that that Line was like a medic and that he was carrying with him like a mobile, like, stretcher, basically. I thought that was a neat, option, but you can kind of, do what you want with it. You can take this this thing here, which, again, if it had the other bit on the end, would be easier to fold out, but you're supposed to fold that out, which honestly, I think it looks better like as a gun without that bit on there, because it was like a weird big like square radar dish, which didn't really seem like it worked as a weapon. It just was a weird extension, but but you can like peg that onto the front there to make it like a weaponized thing. I don't know. It's always been kind of silly, but we'll just put that off to the side for now and focus on the figure itself, which is just this top slab of the van here. First thing you want to do is just take these door panels and kind of fold them up till they'll click into place. These will end up being shoulder pads. Take the arms, which will fold out to the side like that, and then kind of fold down. And then take this entire section, and it will double hinge to kind of cover up that, connection piece there, just like that. And then you can kind of extend out the legs, unpeg them from each other, then fold down the feet. And then the head, you kind of want to take this blue panel and actually get a grip on it and slide it up like this, and then you can rotate it and then slide it back, and then it will kind of peg into place there. And there we have Tow-Line in his robot mode. And yeah, he's kind of a dumpy looking guy. His torso just kind of ends here. Also, this is kind of doing a bit of cheating, because like the bottom grill of the bottom part of the grill in the vehicle mode actually becomes part of his little platform here. So like, only this is visible in vehicle mode. So it kind of like completes the, Ratchet Ironhide, like van chest thing without actually using that piece, which is a little strange, but whatever. In terms of articulation, he's a little bit limited. Honestly, there's just like one big joint that I think he ought to have that he doesn't, which I'll get to, but his head is on a swivel, so it can rotate around like that. Because of how it works for transformation, you can also tilt it up a little bit, which looks okay to a point before it starts looking bad. The shoulders here can fold back on this joint just for transformation, which kind of acts as like a backwards butterfly joint. It can also rotate out to the side and then rotate around. This piece is just on a ball joint there. So pretty good shoulder range. His elbows, which are visually like way too high, I think, but whatever. They're on ball joints, so they can bend a pretty decent amount and then also get that bicep rotation there. Nothing at the waist. The hips are on ball joints, which can go forward and back and out to the side. Now, the big thing, unfortunately, is that he does not have any sort of thigh swivels, and the ball joints that, the hips are on aren't those ones that have like enough of a range to really allow for it. So it's like you can get kind of from there to there, which is not a lot. And I find that to be pretty limiting, because you'd want to be able to like widen his feet a little bit more, especially because he doesn't have ankle tilts, which is pretty typical for the time. But without the thigh swivel, it kind of makes getting him kind of flat-footed on the ground a little bit annoying. And then he also has a nice deep knee bend for transformation. So, it's decent. Again, it would be kind of fine, all things considered, if it just had thigh swivels, and that's really the only big thing that I feel like he's missing. You can still do the sort of like torso mode for him. I don't know if he has a leg mode. I mean, if he did, it would probably, well, I don't know. Yeah, because this is on this side. So I don't know if he has like a leg mode. I think that you're just supposed to like use this as a weird leg mode. But for the torso mode, you can flip out these guns that I showed earlier that just flip out of his toes, which again, if you wanted to, you could leave those out just to be part of his foot design. I think it looks worse with them, but you can do whatever. And then you can take this entire section and kind of fold it up like this, and then fold the feet down so that these end up kind of like sitting over his shoulders. And then you've got that port there so you can connect him to other Energon figures. I don't have any other Energon figures that actually do that gimmick, so I can't really show it off. But I mean, you can do this. You can give him some like weird sort of like van centaur mode, which I think looks incredibly stupid, but it's an option. That's something that the toy can physically do. So yeah, personally, I don't really use that functionality. I just leave him as a regular robot. Like I said, I kind of like to imagine that this is some sort of like portable med bay or something. And then if you, you can flip this panel back up and you want to angle it down, you could have Transformers kind of lie on it like that. Granted, it works a little bit better for slightly smaller figures, but still, I think it's a neat option. And then it can do like the Optimus Prime base thing where you can flip it up like this, use those back wheels to support it, and then like bring these around as some sort of like support arms or something. I don't know. It's just got that functionality. I don't think it was necessarily designed with that intent, but it's something that you kind of can do with it. Like I said, it's really more meant to be an homage to the original like G1 Ratchet and Ironhide's like separated, like battle platform mode. But yeah, to get onto comparisons in this mode, here he is again with Kingdom's Sideswipe. Just so you can see, pretty much average size deluxe there, a little bit taller than him in robot mode, and then obviously comes with a whole extra thing, so definitely a lot bigger mass wise than an average modern deluxe, but that's what they look like together. And then here he is again with Studio Series Ratchet, just so you can see what they look like together. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to him. Obviously you can give him this as like a big weapon or something. Like I said earlier, I feel like it looks better as like a long gun than when it had like a weird square piece sticking out the back here. But however you want to do it. But yeah, no, not a whole lot else to say about him. Again, pretty good figure overall. I think he's a lot of fun. He definitely looks a little bit like dumpy and awkward in his robot mode, but that's okay. I'm kind of fine with having a few Transformers that have like sort of just like more like regular day-to-day bot proportions rather than being all like beefed out action heroes and stuff like that. Some guys with weirder proportions I think are fine. Really the one big thing that I would change about this figure if I could is just giving him a thigh swivel, and that's pretty much it. Otherwise I really like this toy. But yeah, if you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and without further ado, here we have Transformers Energon Tow Line.